Hi there, I'm Manik from Gethired, sharing with you another career insight moment and guiding you towards realizing all your career aspirations. Today we are going to talk about a particular situation in the interview, a circumstance in which you're not sure whether the interviewer is interested in you or not. How do you know that? And then we'll look at providing tools how to really change the trajectory if it is not going in favor of you. Now, first up, normally the usual first question is an icebreaker in the form of tell me about yourself. Now, that is icebreaker from the interview's point of view. But from your point of view, from the candidate's point of view, this is the most important question because it laid the foundation. This is the time for you to plant seeds of connectivity, seeds of positivity and engagement in the minds of the interviewer. If that is taken care of, everything else will stem from that, and all the questions that follow your response will look at from a positive point of view. So you need to make sure that you get it right. So you need to ensure that you are not only just a valuable candidate, you are the right candidate and you have the right personality. Now let's look at what are the cues that are there whether the interview is interested in you or not. But before that, there can be a situation where there are pre-selected candidates. It happens about, I would say, 15 to 20% of the time. It's just very unfortunate. It is a situation where they already pre-filled the particular role, either internal fill or from an external strong influence. So please visit my channel Gethired. I have dealt with this problem exclusively with another video, but even in that situation, you just do it a great job, because sometimes even if the candidate is not interested, they might call you if you have created some sort of awareness that you are a right candidate. Now, so what are the cues that are out there that for you to really gauge that the interview is going well and he's interested in you? The number one cue is that the interview frequently address you by your first name. Mr. So-and-so, can you explain to me your situation, Mr. So-and-so? Mr. So-and-so, can you tell me a time? What are your strengths, Mr. So-and-so? When they use your name, there is an element of a personal relationship that has built. And that only takes place if he is interested in you. Number two is basically they ask you about the availability for the second interview. Now, when that happens, sometimes they go to the extent of really book you in, fixing a time. That's a strong indication that you are doing really well at the interview. And the third cue is probably they will inquire about your job search. Where are you in your job search? Because they don't want to lose you. So they want to kind of fast track the recruitment process if you see that you're the right candidate. So if they kind of ask that question, there's an indication that they want to gauge where you are because they don't want to lose your talent. So that's also a good indication. Number three is that when the questions are referred or structured with you inside in it. Basically, they visualize you in the role. So instead of referring to the role and say, okay, this role requires the candidate to go, this role demands you to work with team, they say, you have to work with teams, you might have to visit 2 days of the week with the agency, you have to carry out research work, you have to have data analytics done once every month, or whatever, right? So they fit you in the role. And the question is structured as they visualize as if you are in the role. So that's a good indication that you have actually break state and that you are really engaging with them. They see you as a potential candidate because this is subconsciously this comes out even without them knowing it. Number three is basically sometimes they take time to introduce to people, especially after the interview. Do an office tour. So that's also a strong indication that they are really serious, unless they will not do that unless they are serious looking at you. And of course, another important cue is basically when they probe into the question, especially aspects of the JD. Now, they will look at the behavioral question, competency question, technical questions, your culture fit. They will go into detail. They spend enough time with you, just to get a very good grasp of what your capabilities are. So that's also a good indication that they're seriously looking at you. Another important cue is that when they try to sell, in fact, they do that. Sometimes they try to sell the company to you. They try to sell the role to you. Sharing, these are the benefits that are there. Your career can develop in this way. And these are the allowances, advantages. So they try to sell you the role. That's also a clear indication that they want you in. And of course, another strong cue is that if the allotted time for the interview runs out, if the time is 20 minutes or 30 minutes, it runs out to 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, then it shows the value that, the value spent with you is important, because they have kind of selected a right candidate, or they have come across someone who come close to what they're looking for. So that's a clear indication that you're on the right path. And also sometimes they spend a lot of time in sharing the vision and the direction and the strategy of the organization, which they don't have to. They do that because they feel the value for you. They want to give you a macro level picture in terms of how you fit in. So normally they don't do that. That means basically they are very seriously looking at you. Another important cue is that the level of engagement and positivity. They smile, they are engaging, and they have follow-up questions. It's the body language. It creates positive vibes. That's a strong indication. The body language gives out that cue. And of course, finally, if they give the visiting card at the end of the interview, that's a strong indication that they want to keep in touch with you. On the flip side, let's look at what are the the cues that you could get if the interviewer has closed the door on you, or basically not interested. Number one is they rush through the interview process. Of course, even if they're not interested, they still have to go through the questionnaire process, because that's just a formality. So if they don't spend enough time, that's a clear indication. Number two is basically they don't spend too much time in really sharing the vision and summarizing the company. They will give a quick 10 seconds, 15 second summary of the company. They are not talking about the direction, strategy. And they will also, number three, they will not ask about various aspects related to your job role. They will not go into detailed behavioral question, which requires time. Also competency questions. So you are very limited in terms of articulating questions and show your skill set, because they actually close the door. So the question related to job field, job role is limited. Sometimes they don't investigate certain aspects of the job role. That also indication that they actually close the role. Number is basically if the allotted time in 20 minutes and finish within 15 times. So way before the allotted time allocation for that interview, if it is finished early, that means they have actually hurried through the interview. And of course the closing. If they say that we will get in touch with you, there are other candidates that we have to interview, that's a strong indication that when you say we are getting in touch with you, 90% that they are not going to get in touch with you, and probably you have been passed out. So most likely, but there can be a chance where it can reverse as well. Another indication is the body language. Sometimes they're not engaging, they're not happy, they're not smiling, they're not addressing with your first names, they're not asking about your other job search that are going on, and also they're looking at time. There is negative vibes that are coming in that gives the impression that they want to rush through the interview. So what do you do? So there's what is called the all systems go. So you have nothing to lose. So I repeat that, there's nothing to lose. So they have closed the door on you. So now you have to break state. This is what is called the emotional avalanche, I like to call it like that. Or you have to break state and completely take them out of context. Create a value moment, a wow moment. Research the company, look at some insightful, really strategic insight, and show the interviewer at that time that your commitment level, your knowledge and your capacity or skill levels, competencies, you need to combine all these three elements and come up with a question. So if the opportunity is not given, you ask permission, sir, can I ask you a question? And then come up with a question like, your new project that you're really developing in this area, I'm really driven by that. I had similar experience in this company, and I love the measurements, the KPIs associated with that. I really like the strategic, the thinking behind it, and I work in a similar position, and this is what I did. Can you please explain to me further what I intend, or something to that effect? Maybe a new project. So that they will say that you had studied about the company, that shows commitment, that shows knowledge, and you're linking that to one of your previous examples. So you're bringing your competencies. If that was not discussed at length during the interview, this is a good opportunity to do that. So create a wow moment. So there you go. That's how but basically if you can really within the first minute, create that positive vibes, that's the way to go, and everything will be looked at from a positive point of view, and that will basically lead to you being a strong candidate. So if you like this video, please put a thumbs up. Please feel to share this video with your friends. visit my channel Gethired by subscribing, the subscribe button on the screen. And thank you for watching. See you soon.